This video is not planned at all. I usually don't, well actually I do, I usually make videos spastically, and I'm a very impetuous filmmaker, I guess you could call me, and I like doing things on the fly. I'm a very, what's it called, spontaneous, kind of artist, and I have, a lot of times I have spontaneous ideas, spontaneous thoughts. Thank God I've kept a lot of my notebooks throughout the years, and I've been able to write down almost everything and pretty much anything that comes to my mind, whatever era I'm living through life, whatever movies, music, and ideas for films that I have, I write them down. I journal a lot. I have a lot of diary entries from, specific parts of my life, and I have a lot of versions of a script that is on napkins, pieces of paper, post-its, note cards, full-on journals. Most recent iteration is, actually, let me show you. I figured I'd shed some light on the situation, but my two favorite colors are yellow and blue. And this one is for, these two are for 2026. I got them for the new year. And this one is for, if I'm not mistaken, let me just check real quick just to make sure. Yeah, this is for music. So this is gonna be for my music ideas, and this is for my film ideas. I'm happy to say that the film one is already more filled up than the music one, so that's exciting. And the main reason why I wanted to make this video, to be honest, is not to really tell you about how much I'm writing and how much I've been writing over the years. This is all I have for music. It's not to boast about anything. It's not to teach you anything. It's really not even to say anything. Really, there's no point to this video. And I feel like, a lot of times life can be pointless. Depending on what era you're in, it can feel a certain way. It can feel, let me put my hood on to be more cool and mysterious, but it can feel more like, it can feel, depending on like what you're going through and stuff, it can feel suffocating. It can feel peaceful. It can feel, whimsical. You can be in a lighthearted mood. You can be, really happy or really sad. And I find that, for me at least, when I'm making really good art, it's like a perfect balance of sadness and happiness, and I'm kind of in the middle, and I'm just scratching. When I feel like I'm 29 years old. I'm gonna turn 30 in April, and I feel like, sorry if you hear like a little sound, it's my PS3. I'm watching a movie, but yeah, I paused the movie to make this video. I was gonna say movie, but I guess it is a movie. Videos are movies, movies are videos, right? It's a moving picture. Yeah, filmmaking doesn't have to be a narrative thing. And anyways, I'm getting off the point. The point is that, if there even is a point, because that's the point is that there's no point. But what I was saying is like, I feel like I'm 29 years old, right? I feel like I've only scratched the surface of my creative potential. I went through a lot of, like I said in the beginning of this video, I've even written stuff on sketchbooks. I mean, obviously I've sketched stuff. Here's like the 21 Pilots thing, but I write on everything and anything. Like, I'm not joking when I say that. And you know, going back to what the point of this video is, or if there even is a point to life sometimes, it can feel pointless, it can feel purposeless, it can feel empty and cold and sad and decrepit. I think the solution to feeling good, or feeling good with yourself, loving yourself, embracing yourself, being okay with failing, appreciating your art, creating your art and putting it out there, no matter how it performs, having this attitude of like, I'm just gonna be grateful for what I have and I'm not gonna ask for more. I don't know. It's just, I don't know. The whole idea of being an artist is like inherently selfish, right? But at the same time, it it just, art just helps you get through the day. Art just helps you, you know, it helps me breathe better, right? When I have those moments of like pure suffocation. But the last thing, the way that I want to end this video is kind of on a sad note, because I'm going to say something that's kind of sad that happened to me a while ago that really marked me for life. There's been a lot of moments like that in my life, but I'm going to say a specific one. And it's a sad thing, but at the same time, it's also a happy thing because I'm going to turn it into art. Anything, pretty much anything bad that happens to me, I I like receive it, I grieve it, I hold on to it. It sticks to me like a parasite, or it hovers over me like some sort of curse. But I always end up, you know, eventually making something beautiful out of, you know, the bad stuff. So what I want to say is, two things that really marked my life, that that I'm just like grateful for, because if this didn't happen, I don't know if I would have done what I did as far as like music and just everything, just being an artist. Um, I have a younger brother. He's 2 years younger than me, and you know, uh, we had a very tumultuous relationship growing up, to a point where it kind of reached its boiling point, and we haven't spoken in like 5 years, something like that, almost 6 years now, maybe even more, or I don't know. It's just been at least 5 years. The point that I want to say, the reason why I'm mentioning this is because it's something that really, over the past, obviously, since when it first happened, right, when we first, like, I don't know, broke up as brothers, or you know, didn't see each other, didn't talk to each other, and were mad at each other or whatever. It's funny because I don't remember the last thing that we fought about. So like, it doesn't even matter anymore who was right or who was wrong. Um, but like, initially when it happened, it really weighed on me heavily, and I just kept, you know, praying and asking God, like, what did I do wrong? What am I doing wrong? Why am I such a bad big brother? And but the more I thought about it, you know, the more time passed. As the years went on, I just focused on art, and I focused on, you know, uh, being the best person I can be myself solo, so that when we do reconcile one day, you know, hopefully soon, I can be that better version of me, but like as a brother to him. And you know, it's all in the past. It all is forgiven. I don't care what happened. He's still my brother, and I have to like, because I know how tough, you know, family issues can be and whatnot, and it's just like a really hard thing to even talk about. And I don't know, this year 2026, I really want to, you know, get in the gym. I really want to go to therapy. Those are like the two main things. And then the third thing, which is not too important, but it's still part of my vision, is getting like a job, so that I can, like a real job, because right now I get paid for, you know, as a janitor at a church, but I don't get enough to like live on my own, if that makes sense, or get an apartment or something like that. I do plan on moving away from where I am right now, because I do feel like the environment has a lot to do with, you know, these spurts of, or these like tiny little, it's not like my life is stagnant completely, but there are blotches of, you know, of ink, if you will, um, of like stuff that's like seeping into my life, that's making me feel, not only feel, but literally making me stagnant. It's making me feel stuck. It's making me not, you know, grow as a person and therefore as an artist. Um, so I tell you this because I just want, you know, everyone to know. I really do truly want, I want the world to know that I am human, and I'm trying to figure out how to navigate 2026 with a new lens, a brand new perspective. So yeah, those are pretty much like the three things. And you know, obviously, the elephant in the room would be like to the goal is always to reconcile with my brother. And these are all things that have nothing to do with like being creative and being artistic. That's totally separate. Although it does seep, you know, obviously they are kind of correlated in many ways. For That's what I love about art, and that's what I love about a lot of artists, is that you can see their life in their work, and you can see their work in their lives. So what I want to say is that one of two things that really affected me, and I think my view of my brother and my relationship with him, are two things. The first one is when, you know, when I lived back at home with him, I gave him, I was like 17, I was in high school. I gave him, I gifted him, I'll say the one that's not that big of a deal, and then I'll say the one that really broke my heart. But yeah, so the first one is that I gifted him like two really nice Rolling Stones hoodies, you know, graphic hoodies, because I knew that he liked the Rolling Stones. Um, if I found like a Bob Dylan one, then I would have gotten him a Bob Dylan one, because I know he liked Dylan. I don't know if he still does, but at the time he did. Point is that I got them for him, and then he threw them away in the trash. Like literally, he threw my gift away in the trash, and I felt terrible. Right, that obviously hurt my feelings, because I had gotten it for him. You know, thinking about him, and to do that was, looking back on it now, it's ridiculous. But at the time, it was like, I mean, I was still a teenager. I was still a kid, so I was like completely devastated. The other thing that I think is more important than that is I gave him um, this. I don't want to get into it, but pretty much it's just a binder that said like film director on it, and it had all of my plans that I had for after high school. I wanted to go straight into film, and so that binder was filled to the brim. It was like a senior, they call it, I said I wasn't going to get into it, but I'll get into it. I might as well. It's called an SEP, a senior exit project. And you basically have a portfolio, and you do some shadowing, and you basically dive into the career that you want to get into after you graduate high school. And it's required of all the seniors. You have to do it to graduate. So after the project had all been said and done, you know, I wanted to be a film director. So it said film director, SEP, it probably had my name, Ricardo Garcia, blah, blah, blah. And I gifted it to him. I don't know why, but I just gave it to him, and then some time after, I saw it in the garage, just completely, you know, thrown away pretty much, but in the garage, and the papers were like, there was some stuff torn and missing, and I just, it, and that broke my heart. You know what I mean? So yeah, I don't know. I guess you could call it like being sensitive as a person, as an artist. I don't know. Uh, Kind of like spitting in the face of my dreams, pretty much, is what I felt that he did at the time. Now looking back, I mean, it is kind of a big deal, but obviously I've grown from that, and I realized that it was immature on his part, and it was probably immature of me to, you know, hold that against him without communicating that with him. A lot of times I think the problem that I had with him, and the way in which I failed him, was I wouldn't communicate things with him. I would ignore him. I was so preoccupied with, other people, other friends, and I would kind of put him on the back burner of like hanging out and spending time with him. And I just didn't care, I just really didn't care about his feelings towards stuff. And I just, it was a very, it just got worse and worse, we just became colder and colder to each other until, there was a moment where, we had an argument, and there was a fight, and, you know, but I don't want to get into, all of the specifics of that, because like I said, now it doesn't really matter. It doesn't matter. It really, truly doesn't matter. What matters is that we, move forward as brothers, as human beings, as artists, as whatever we are, and whatever we want to be in the future. The future is all that matters, because, the future is now. It's happening. This is my life. You're watching this video, hopefully, and your life is happening right now. Like, this moment is real. And I don't know, hopefully this, story and what I'm saying can resonate with you in some way, in the sense of, like, again, I'm not trying to preach or teach anything. I'm not trying to say anything there. I'm not trying to convey any message or moral of my story, but I do want to document this and remember how I felt in this very moment. And I'm just truly letting go of those two events. Like, they've kind of haunted me and traumatized me for a while, and I've kind of held that against him, and it's kind of fueled my frustrations with him, because it was never really about hate or anything like that. I still obviously love him, but they say that the opposite of love is not necessarily hate, but it's actually what's the word? Indifference. And I definitely have had this attitude of, like, indifference, where I don't feel anything at times over the years, where I'm just completely numb to him and the situation. But I've finally warmed up to the fact that I'm human. I make mistakes. That was a huge mistake I made, leaving the way I did, leaving things the way that I did. And I'm ready. I'm ready to, let bygones be bygones and move forward with our relationship. So, yeah, this is for me. Making this video is for me, and it's inspiring to me, if anything. So I appreciate you watching, and my first film is coming out soon, so be ready for that. God bless. Take care. Peace out. I don't know why I did that. It's like, what was it? I don't know what that was, but bye.